right, welcome everybody. So this is lesson 1.2 of the checking account lesson. So before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, on your student activity packet notes, there's a slideshow that comes up. This is the first thing. So what is the average fee to take money out of a non-network ATM? This was last updated of March of 2020. So please go ahead and think about that for a second. Give it your best guess. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the answer really is, see if I can do it. $4.72. All right, this charge includes your bank's fee and then fee charged by an ATM owner. It actually happens quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen, that if you guys know on your contract when you sign something, usually you'll see like if I remember over the winter break, I went to go watch the basketball game at ASU for the men's and women's basketball game that we were there, and I did the scoreboard for the men's, but when we were there, I had cash and I didn't have any cash on me, so I had to use an ATM for the first time in a long time, and so it was like a $3.50 charge from the ATM, and then my bank charged me money because that's how they're like, if you're going to take money from us and give it to somebody else, then you need to charge the fee. And so it actually went up, and I think it was like $1.50. So I believe in total to take out money, it was $5 for me. So that's on average. So one thing I want to make sure you guys do is understand that there are fees associated with this, and the goal for us is to make sure that we try to avoid those in the future. All right, so let's begin. Write these down. That's an estimate. Yay, let's keep going. All right, so first thing you want to do is now understand how to start using your checking account properly. Now, this is a very interesting article. When you talk about stuff,
if you manage a team.
Let me skip this real quick. All right, skipped ads. So what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is how to start using your checking account properly, the financial diet. It's a nice little setup here. As you saw in the last lesson, it's important to know how to use your account properly. Watch this video starting at 42 seconds. They skipped intro for you to answer the questions below. Okay, so why is it vitally important to understand the fees your bank may charge you? Why do the women from the financial diet recommend using direct deposit, mobile banking, and financial apps? So answer those questions after you watch the video. Checking account transactions are not reported to the credit bureaus and do not affect your credit score. Why is it still important to manage your checking account well? Okay, they have tips in there. Read it. And then how much money do they recommend keeping in your checking account, and how much do they recommend for your emergency fund? We'll talk more about emergency fund in the next chapter when we talk about savings accounts. So go ahead and finish watching this. Pause my video, and you guys jump on the YouTube link that you'll have on your notes and watch that one instead. All right, then after that, ladies and gentlemen, there's something called fine print checking account agreement. Okay, as you saw in the previous videos, it's extremely important. This is actually like a little mini test. Okay, it's an activity that's going to be worth 15 points. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be located on Canvas. It's a nice little setup where there'll be an agreement and then a bunch of questions afterwards. I want to make sure you guys can answer accordingly. Okay, then so go ahead and make sure you do that. That'll be part 2 of your assignment for this week. There's actually another one as well that we'll talk about in a second. Bank overdraft fees. Overdraft fees average $35 per transaction, and that is with almost every bank. Okay, and they can be devastating to your checking account. And then let's dive in a little deeper. So there's a little video here that you go through, and it's a 2-minute video that you would come through and you'd watch. Now, one of the key things is there's a misleading term. What is it misleading with overdraft protection? Because most people, and you'll learn about this in the video, that you need to make sure you have protection, but what it is that the protection actually has to be viable money, okay, where you're going to have money in a savings account and a checking account, and they have to be linked together. So that way, ladies and gentlemen, if you accidentally overdraft in your checking account, it'll pull money from savings. All right, in my past, I've only had 1 or 2 problems with this. I do know, for example, that my daughter has had issues in the past with stuff like this, where you're expecting a payment or direct deposit to come in, and then you make a bill, you pay a bill, and then unfortunately the direct deposit doesn't come in until a day late. You've overdrafted your checking account, the bank will charge you $35, and then you got to call the bank, and usually they will waive the first one. If you do it a second time, some banks will waive it, but after that, ladies and gentlemen, you're on your own. There's a gentleman I used to work with all the time back in the day when I did enrollment counseling for the University of Phoenix for a little while. He got hit with so many of these overdraft fees, it was ridiculous. Okay, basically he is throwing his money away. And then read this real quick. Once you sign up for overdraft protection, you can opt out. Is that true or false? And then what else did Sharon do to avoid future fees? All right, watch your article and figure it out. All right, banks rearrange transactions in order to charge more overdraft fees. What? Ladies and gentlemen, how crazy is this article? Okay, so when you start to read this, read it and understand, okay, that 2016 America's 3 biggest banks racked up more than $6.4 billion in ATM and overdraft fees. I know there were some banks that got in trouble for this. All right, so what you guys need to understand is understand your money. Okay, there are fees arranged for this transaction infringement. And then it talks about, here is a little video that you would watch. Come on, there it goes. Where how bank practices increase overdraft fees, and understand what's here. Because here's the big thing, and I can't watch the plugin, that's probably a JavaScript that I don't have downloaded on my computer yet. So one thing you guys need to understand though is that banks, sometimes you'll have your checking account just sitting in there. And you'll ask yourself, well, how do banks actually earn money? This is it right here. They rely on you messing up and you making mistakes. And so you cannot do those things, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what this is about, okay? Is making sure you guys understand that if you can avoid these and avoid this, then ladies and gentlemen, you'll be successful and you won't have to worry about overdraft fees. But the problem is a lot of students and individuals your age aren't aware of this, and they'll get out into the adult world and they'll start going and racking up bills and paying things, and they'll get an overdraft fee and they'll wonder what happened. Well, this is what happened, okay? They weren't being responsible enough financially. All right, so make sure you answer these, and then in the simulation, explain how. Is there a simulation? I'll look at that. If there is no simulation, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about that last piece there. All right, so 3 mobile banking alerts. Everyone should have activate, okay? Talks about the previous thing that Sharon had mentioned. I have these all on mine, okay? And they have 7 mobile banking alerts here. Now, this is 7. This is updated as of May of 2020. When this lesson first came out, there's only 3, but they've updated it a little bit. All right, so what I want you guys to do is read through these, because it's very important that you guys have it. All right, you skip through, nice little advertisements in the middle. Low balance, large purchase, unusual activity. Large purchase is a newer one that was on here, but I want you guys to read the article and then tell me what they are. Because let's be honest, okay? There's some of you in here that in Arizona with minimum wage set at $12 an hour, as it stands right now in the year 2020, you can make a lot of money a lot quickly, especially if you have no bills. And so I do know that during the pandemic, my youngest son still worked in the fast food industry and worked 40 hours a week in high school and was pulling home almost $1,000 check every 2 weeks. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen, that you can rack up a lot of money really quick. But the problem and the backside of that is if somebody gets your ATM card, they can make an unusual activity, they can have a large purchase, and you need to be alerted to that. And you can set limits to that, and it's very wise that you guys do that. Low balance, read what it is, kind of make sure you guys understand that I used to get those all the time when I knew my balance hit a certain threshold. I needed to know. And maybe it was $150, maybe it's $200, so you know, oh my gosh, you only have $200 left, and you have a direct deposit or a bill pay automatically coming out, and that somebody's going to take, say, $250. But if you only got $200 left in there, you're alerted to it, and you know, oh my gosh, I better get some money in there. Unusual activity, that would be as if, ladies and gentlemen, what? Somebody in the state of Georgia, which has happened to me twice, orders food on your credit card or your debit card, and that has actually happened. All right. While those are more highly recommended, which one do you think is more important? Now, after reading this article over here that has 7 of them, if you want to put something different down over here, please do. All right, money smart tips to stay on top of checking in your bank statement, okay? Nice little video here that's only a minute and 38 long. Complete the following sentence with either debit or credit from there, okay? why should you look closely at all debits and credits? Okay, now debits and credits. Now, please don't get confused, ladies and gentlemen. All right, there's a debit card, and then there is a credit card. All right, so debits and credits. Debits are transactions or money taken from you. If I pay you $5, or if I go to McDonald's or I go someplace to eat and I spend $20 at Target, okay, or I go to Target, I'll spend $20 in a heartbeat, just like that. All right, that's a debit. That's I've spent money. All right, a credit is somebody giving you money. Like, for example, if you get paid in a direct deposit, you'll get a paycheck stub. You're like, sweet, I got paid $600. You go to your bank, and your bank should now have a credit of $600. Same thing, okay? So, and then what does this video recommend if you notice a lot of fees appearing on your statement? Please go ahead and look at that. That's a big problem. I can't stress enough, all right? I hate bank fees with a dying passion. If a bank starts to charge me fees, I will leave that bank. I have done that in the past with a local credit union that shall not be named. They charged $7. I put direct deposits in there. I put all sorts of money in there. But for some reason, every month I kept getting charged a $7 checking fee. I'm like, no, because once a year, after 10 months, I've paid $70. For what? To use their service? No, that doesn't. And in a year, you'd pay $84. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure about you, but I know it may seem like a lot, $84, but that's $84 now that I don't have. And that makes a big deal when you're trying to manage your finances, pay off debt, and be smart and save for the future. That's what this is all about, okay? And then the last thing they have here, the top tier, top tips for checking your bank statement. They have a nice little check here that you guys can do. Same thing, it's only 1 minute 40 seconds long. What is the purpose of a bank statement? It's very important that you guys have them. Now, a lot of days, bank statements are electronic. They are no longer offered via paper, but please make sure that if whichever way you prefer, that you get them delivered to you. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that you pay attention to them, especially in the now with the days of a mobile app, okay? Almost every major bank has, as a matter of fact, if you're banking with somebody that doesn't have a mobile app, I suggest you run away from them because their technology is not up to date. But nowadays, you can check on your mobile app to see where things have happened. And I've noticed in the past where I've checked on stuff and then all of a sudden I see, wait a second, I didn't charge $35 or I didn't charge $125 for steak at Applebee's in Georgia. That has happened. I'll call up and say, hey, I got a problem here. And that was just on a whim, ladies and gentlemen, where I said, let me check my statement. And sure enough, somebody had done that. So how often should you check it? It's in that video, and then you go from there. Here's another activity. So with this, there's not a research project, but there are 2 activities that you guys need to work on lesson 1.2. The first one was the fees. This one is the bank statement, where you want to go through and look at the fine print of a bank statement, read through it, answer the questions, and then lastly, answer the exit ticket. And then on Canvas, you'll also have an exit ticket guide to go through. All right? So within lesson 1.2 is the activity notes, these 2 fine print activity statements, there's 2 of them, and then the comprehensive questions at the end. So ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot on this one, but remember, it's very important that you guys understand what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're reading, and how to be successful with a checking account. If you have any questions, please make sure you come see me or reach out to me anytime. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, good luck, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson as well.